welcome to this pre-recorded live stream. I did it this way because the topic is long and I wanted to get through all the points without getting distracted and without having to answer questions. I will be doing other live streams that are not pre-recorded where hopefully people will show up and we'll get to chit chat. Actually, it might be the next live after this. I can dedicate it to answering questions, although it seems like not too many people have many questions. The title came to me, it started last night, sort of the messages that came through, and it continued on to today, and I kept adding and adding to my notes. Finally, I decided to go ahead and do this pre-recorded live regarding aligning your light, or what that phrase means. You hear it a lot. There are songs about it, I'm aligning my light. Or you hear it in the religious circles as well as in the spiritual circles. You will hear the phrase align yourself, align your light, align. You're going to hear that word a lot. It's sort of a fancy word, and it's used, like I said, in religious as well as spiritual communities. And I have my notes because I don't want to go off on rants, although you know me, I will, but not too much. So you will see my gaze go back and forth, and for that I apologize, but they are my notes. No one really tells us or gives us sort of a step-by-step guide how to align or what that term actually means. The part of the reason a lot of people sort of roll their eyes when they hear terms like align and they call it woo-woo and they don't take spirituality seriously, even religion, is because they don't really tell you what align means. It's this big word. It's like this umbrella word, and you're supposed to figure it out on your own. And if you don't, then shame on you. Generally speaking, and from my own perspective and from reading so much about spirituality from different parts of the world, although I do seem to be focusing on Sufism, it's not just limited to that. And Sufism, I find, it pulls from, Buddhism, it pulls from Sanskrit, it pulls from a lot. Spiritual teachings are universal, regardless what culture you take them from. I should probably say that modern day spirituality seems to have been corrupted. But anyhow, when you go back to the old texts. So generally speaking, it means getting yourself back on track to your own personal path. The one that you came here to live, not the path that others tell you that you should be on. And chances are, because that's just the way of this world is, there is no conspiracy theory, there's no bad people out there, it's just the way we have been throughout the ages because we have lost awareness. Most of us have been diverted off our paths. We like to follow social norms. We like to follow the paths that have been laid for us by the systems that we belong to. So how does one find their path? Great. So I'm awake now. Now I want to find my own personal path. I've left, this religion or that religion, and I want to think for myself, and I want to find my own way. Step 1, and it's a lengthy one, so get ready. Step 1, you go within and you establish a solid, I call it hotline. You know how there's a hotline for reporting? During COVID, you remember there was hotlines to report on your neighbors when they had more than 5 people. And people did all the time. There were all kinds of hotlines. This person's not wearing a mask, come arrest them, a hotline. But this is a different kind of hotline. So a hotline of clear communication with your own higher self, with your higher guidance. This is usually a personal journey, unlike what religion teaches us. It's a very personal journey of discovery, well, you will have to err. You'll have to sort of, one time you get it right, one time you dial and it's the wrong number. When it's the wrong number, you usually apologize and you hang up. You don't just continue and carry on a conversation and befriend that person. So that's what I mean by you're going to have to do some error and then self correct again in order to finally find your path. The line of communication to be established allows for you to understand and decipher and then trust yourself enough to follow your personal intuitive guidance. For me, that sort of hotline was established by meditating. It might, the easiest route, the easiest path to establishing a straight connection with your higher self is by going within through meditation. How that looks like, I don't know. It's different for everyone. For me, I sit down, I wear my Oculus VR headset, and I go on a journey with lights and sounds and music and all that kind of stuff, and I meditate. That's how it looks like for me. For you, it could look very, very different. Some people like to go on meditative walks. Some people consider it a form of prayer. Whatever it looks like for you, that's up to you to establish, not for me to tell you. So the line of communication to be established allows for you to understand and decipher and then trust yourself enough to follow your personal intuitive guidance. Now, considering we are oriented outwards from birth, all of us, like it doesn't matter what part of the world you live in, you must be oriented outwards because this life is in front of us. It's not inside of us. And we grow up depending on our senses and learning from people who depended on their own senses, meaning hearing, touch, sight, smell, those physical senses. They all orient you outside of yourself because you can't touch your soul. You can't touch your higher self. You can't see it. Some people claim they do. You can't hear it. Some people claim they do. But that's another topic, all right? I am saying that we are, for the most part, born and raised oriented to the outside world, meaning away from ourselves. So it could be, actually, it is a challenge for a lot of us to go within and establish any form of communication because you don't know what the hell you're doing. What am I looking for? What communication? What is this entity? Where is God? Prove to me that there's... And then we go down the line of skepticism and atheism and all that nonsense, which is not the topic of this discussion. But it is very, very difficult and very challenging just because of the way we have been oriented and our dependence on our physical senses, which unfortunately tend to limit us. So regardless of how much of a skeptic you consider yourself to be or are, there's nothing to lose by trying this out. And actually, one can argue that you have everything to gain by going within yourself and seeing what's in here. So I know what's outside of this world. I've lost faith in this world. There's nothing here. There's a bunch of fighting. There's a bunch of wars. Science is sort of here telling me this and telling me that. But what's inside of me? Why don't I navigate sort of that space and see what I find? You've got nothing to lose when you do this. Zero to lose. You will put resistance up. You will convince yourself, I can't do this, I can't sit still, I'm fidgety, oh, my mind races. We all said this, every single person. Nobody, it's very, very difficult to do because we weren't taught how to do it. And we didn't do it. So, you don't suddenly, sit down and play the piano and you perform a masterpiece. It doesn't work that way. All right. Next point is it will take a few trial and errors until you refine this sense. So the way it's sort of like a message that came to me actually to compare it to help people understand what it is you're looking for. Think, let's say you're outside, I don't know, on a trail, in a forest, in a sort of not an urban area. You're not in an urban area, you're not in a city. You're outside, you're on the outskirts of a city. And you're searching for a clear sort of, phone signal or a clear Wi-Fi connection. You sort of put your phone up, you go here, you go there. You can't see the Wi-Fi signal. You can't see it. You can't sense the Wi-Fi signal, but you have a device in your hand that can. And you trust that device. It shows you, oh, there's Wi-Fi now and I can make this phone call now. And once you find that Wi-Fi signal or that phone connection, you will know that that's the spot that I went to and I got a very stable and a very good, trustworthy, phone connection. So I'm going to go back to it. I'll go do my thing. And if I ever want to communicate with someone, I'm going to go back to the same spot because I know where it is now. And that's very similar to what I'm talking about. You can't see your higher guidance. You can't hear your higher guidance, especially if you're not tuned to it. The same way you can't see Wi-Fi. You have a device that can sense Wi-Fi and connect to it. And the same applies to your higher guidance. You are that device. You just haven't turned yourself on. You know how you have to switch on, connect to Wi-Fi? It's the same thing. You have to connect. You have to switch yourself on in order to be able to establish that connection. You are the device that can sense your connection. You are the device, the only device that can connect to it. No one can do it but you. And this is why it is a personal journey. It's a personal experience. So you'll do this one time, you'll do it twice, you'll do it 3 times. And with each time that you do it, the signal gets better, more refined. The messages are more clear. They're delivered quickly. And it's enjoyable. It's fun. And then you will naturally reach a point where you become to know your intuition. It's just constantly in the background operating. And you're going to learn to trust it above all. So you've connected to the Wi-Fi signal. It says a strong signal. Do you then go look down at the weak signals and disconnect yourself from the very strong Wi-Fi signal and try out the others? You might, but chances are you're not going to like them. And the same happens when you connect with your higher guidance and you know what your intuition feels and sounds like, and then you choose not to follow it. We all do it. We don't do it out of malice. We don't do it out of ill intent, and we don't do it to challenge. We just sometimes struggle to decipher our intuition. Your intuition usually is the first thing to hit. And as soon as it hits, after that, the monkey mind begins to reason with you against it. And a lot of us tend to go and follow our minds. I'm not saying you've ended your life, it's a catastrophe, no. But the outcome that you will get when you don't follow your intuition is not the highest outcome. And it usually will lead to a form of disappointment in you. And that's when you say, you know what, I should have listened to my gut instinct. That's when we say these things to ourselves. And that's what I'm talking about. You'll try it once, you'll try it twice, you'll try it 3 times until you reach a point where you know it. You know it when it hits, and no matter how much reasoning your mind tries to do with you, you're going to still follow your intuition. And you will learn to trust it above all. Why? Because by now it would have displayed to you that it has got your back. Your higher self communicates with you through your intuition, and following it is usually putting you on the highest potential, the best outcome for whatever situation it is that you are in. Now, how do you get here? This requires usually a brutal form of self honesty. Your need, want, and desire to connect with that internal power that you have. Everybody has it. Nobody's better than any other. Nobody's better than another. We all have it built in within us. It's just, it's switched off. And a lot of us don't even know how to switch it on. Your need to connect with that internal power and find out why it is you came here should trump everything else. Why? Why? Let's say you're living a very comfortable, happy life. You're rich, you've got tons of money, you've got a job that you love, you've got the perfect family, you've got the perfect house, everything's great. You know, everything's beautiful. Why would I change anything? Well, because you're still limiting yourself. What you consider is perfect is probably, chances are, nothing compared to the magnificence that truly awaits you. You're still limiting yourself. But sure, if you're happy with where you are in life and you're like, no, I don't really want to find my path, that's up to you. Nobody can force you. Nobody can shame you. That's your decision. But this is your path. And it's not meant for, not everyone has the capacity to do this. It requires facing many shadows, many fears, and making peace with those shadows and with those fears. Something many of us are incapable of doing for a variety of reasons that are beyond the topic of this live stream. Some of those reasons, without shaming and without stigmatizing, include that we have something called psychiatry and psychology that loves to get us, I don't know, it's become a form of victim. Oh, I have anxiety, you know, a victimhood. I have anxiety, let me take this pill. It helps me with my anxiety. The pill is an escape because you never learned. I'm not shaming, I'm not stigmatizing, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you take your medications. I'm saying keep your medications, but consider investigating the emotions that have led to this anxiety, that have led to this phobia, that have led to this fear. Something not a lot of us are capable of doing or want to do. We want the easy way out. That's just human nature. If you're comfortable where you are, be comfortable where you are. I'm not here to shame. I'm just here to explain. So some of these reasons also include lack of awareness. So on top of the other things, which is fear of facing our emotions, which we were never taught how to handle or how to do, we just take the easy way out because it's easy. But sadly, we live miserable lives, and I think people know this. The other reason being lack of awareness. Lack of awareness that doing this and aligning ourselves and establishing a connection and all the stuff that I'm talking about is actually why we came here. And as well as a general disinterest, if you may, in aligning, because we are too busy. I'm busy. I'm a new mom. I just got this amazing job and I have to kill myself every day at work and prove myself to my boss so I can get this raise, and I have to be busy and I have to run around like a chicken with no head. All these things that we've been taught are normal. You know, I have to work really, really, really hard. I don't have time to align. I don't have time. because we are too busy in our outwards oriented lives and world. And once again, that is absolutely fine. Not here to shame, I'm here to explain. Hence, why this thing that I'm talking about, aligning yourself, finding your higher guidance, finding your path, spirituality in general, is just not for everyone. There is a good chunk of humans out there who are very, very ready, willing, and happy to laugh at anyone who speaks of such things or talks about such things. It requires trust in the unseen. And boy, are we a species that loves to see in order to believe. Oh, there's no evidence, the science doesn't show it, so I don't believe it. That's where we are. Very, very limiting belief. Science has morphed from something that questions, from something that bases investigative processes and results from a hypothesis, a query, into there's no evidence, into shaming, into silencing, into accusations. I don't know what the hell has happened to science. But anyway, it requires trust in the unseen and believing in the unmanifested. You must believe before you see, and even when you do see, it is only you who will see. I'm going to repeat that. You must believe before you see, and when you do see, it is only you who will see. Why do I have to believe? You're not going to go within and try any of this unless there is a question mark inside of you that there's possibility that this is true. Even a little bit of a belief, a tiny spark of a belief is enough to start this journey within yourself. And that's all I'm asking for. I'm not telling you to throw your heads up, oh, I believe in something I don't see. Even when you do finally encounter your higher self, and that's the path, that's the end result of this path, you will encounter your higher self, however way, shape, and form. Only you are designed to understand the communication that will begin to reveal itself and be received by you from your higher guidance. I can't see it. I can't hear it. Everyone is different. There are people out there who connect with their higher guidance. They see it. You know, when I initially woke up, I started to see the color of consciousness is purple or violet or whatever it is you call it. And that's how consciousness, it's like a flame. It's like a purple flame that it's still a purple flame for me when I close my eyes. Then it became other sort of, I guess you call them sacred geometry began to appear in front of me. Some people hear sounds. Lee Harris, I believe, prominent spiritual, very, very grounded person on YouTube. He hears his guides. He hears them. They talk to him. Doesn't seem crazy to me. I mean, you can go look up his channel. You can even try to interact with him. Great guy, millions upon millions of followers worldwide. So that communication is meant, and it is very, very unique to you, which is why, like I said in previous live streams, the argument that, prove to me that God exists is null and void. It's null and void because no one outside of yourself can prove yourself to you. It cannot happen. That's your own, it's your code to decipher. It's your personal code to decipher. And that's all about I'm going to spend on this point. But like I said, you must believe before you see. So it's all an inside job established through very, very real feedback. This feedback is between you and your higher guidance, your higher self. I'm not here to to call whatever higher guidance is for you, a label or a name. It's up to you to decide what it is. You could call it consciousness, my higher self, the universe, God, angel, spirit. It doesn't really matter. But there is a higher guidance that is only here for you and no one else but you. So it's an inside job established through very real feedback between you and your higher self that no one can understand or disclose but you. I hope I made this point clear. All you need to do is set the intention within yourself and begin your journey, because your higher self connects with you through your own internal dialogue. The things you say to yourself, your higher self hears. Your subconscious mind is a doorway that can connect you to your higher self, by the way. But again, that's a different live stream altogether. So after that, focus solely on yourself and let nothing distract you. We live in a world that is full of chaos. Today, I watched a video of 4 women, white, liberal, it's hard not to call them dumbass women, but, white, liberal women. They are dressed up in literally like terrorist attire. They've got the Hamas scarf wrapped around their face. Remember the old videos of the terrorists when they start killing, they kidnap people and they kill them, horrible murders on tape, and they release it to the world. These girls were sort of cosplaying that. Apparently, they have nothing else better to do with themselves but to do that. Those people are, I don't know, they were calling Free Palestine, and one of them was wearing, a tank top showing her belly. And I'm like, man, you love cosplaying terrorists. You should go live with them and see how they would let you walk around in that tank top. Anyhow, sorry. Those are lost souls. They are completely distracted by the nonsense that is happening outside of them, and they've completely bought into it. Chances are, sadly, they will never, in their lifetimes, I hope they do, I hope they do, but people like that, chances are, unless a big catastrophe befalls them, they will never be able to establish any connection. They're lost. They are completely lost, which is why I say focus on yourself and let nothing else distract you. If you're easily distracted, it's going to be a very, very, very difficult navigation for you. So you can hiccup here and there, but the more you want this, the more you want to establish this connection with yourself, the more that you will get what you want. After you establish the hotline, which is step 1 that we talked about, hotline to your higher self, and you do the internal work, a lot of the internal work involves healing. Healing old wounds, facing fears, facing demons, facing your own shadow, and making peace with all of this, all of it. The second phase will begin. And the second phase is walking the walk and talking the talk. Step 2 begins to happen naturally. Sometimes step 2 goes hand in hand with step 1, but usually step 1, you need to commit to it before step 2 starts. But it won't take long. You will find that you will begin to self-correct on your own. Easier said than done. A lot of time there's sort of a moral dilemma involved, but if you've got that hotline established, it shouldn't be that hard. And if you have learned to trust your intuition, it shouldn't be that hard. You will quit the job that you are not aligned with, the job that you hate, that you wake up and go to every day to work with people that you don't like just to pay the bills. That job, you won't be in it for much longer. You just won't be able to continue in it. And it will happen with ease. It will happen with comfort. Whereas before there was a lot of fear in leaving that job, now doors will begin to open for you. You will let go of the people with whom you no longer resonate. And you will do so with pleasure and love rather than with hatred and fear. A big reason for this happening is I'm a person who grew up with very, very low self-esteem, very hated by my family. So I always searched for love and acceptance outside of myself. And I always found it, in narcissists, of course, because I grew up with a family of narcissists. So it was a very painful experience in connecting with people. A lot of these people hurt me. They hurt me deeply and severely. I held on to those relationships because it's the only thing I knew. It's the only way for me to get any kind of self-worth. But when you begin to heal yourself and you begin to pour love into yourself and connect with yourself, you won't need any of that anymore. All of this stuff, all of these people will become noise that is distracting you. So you're going to easily, without, hurting them, without hurting yourself, and without any negativity, sometimes they'll even just fall away from you. It'll happen just naturally. Each one will go their own way. You won't resonate with each other anymore. The other thing is you are going to begin to prioritize yourself, whereas before you were prioritizing others, you were people pleasing. And you're going to find that as you align yourself with your higher guidance, you don't really want to people please anymore because you would rather please yourself. That will become the most important thing. So you will find that your life is automatically rearranging itself to better reflect the inside cleaning job that you've done. As within, so without. I've cleaned a whole bunch of gunk in here. I now am pure with my authentic self. I communicate with honesty with my authentic self. And as such, it will spill to your surroundings. You will find yourself in more pleasant surroundings with more honest people for friends. You love yourself, so naturally you will bring in people who love you unconditionally, not people who put you down if you don't listen to them. Those people, they won't have any place in your world anymore. You will begin to withdraw your energy from everyone, from everything, and every place that no longer serves the highest good, including your highest good. It might be seen as selfish, and people who are selfish will call you selfish. But prioritizing yourself over another, especially if the other person is causing you any kind of harm, even emotional harm, energetic harm, that's not selfishness. That's looking after yourself. It's following your guidance. They want to come along, sure, but it has to be an equally beneficial relationship, I guess. So a purging on many levels of the old that was once you will find that you're going to begin to change as more of your authentic true self begins to come through down the pipes that you've cleared. And as you do this, you will continue to receive more and more and more of your own light, of your own soul, of your own true self. It doesn't matter what you call it. More of it you will begin to embody it more and more and with ease. because the pipes are now clear of all the old gunk that was once blocking them. So life naturally begins to get better. Life naturally begins to get easier. This is a path mostly by the way of solitude in a world that is filled with collectivism. I frequently hear people say that spirituality is a lonely path. I disagree with that. It's not a lonely path, it's a path traveled alone. Doesn't mean you're going to be lonely, because the best companion that you're going to have is there, which is your higher guidance, source energy, spirit, the universe, whatever it is. It's going to be right there besides you. You and it are one. So I'm not sure where the term lonely comes from. It might be traveled alone by you, which is what's requested. You can't bring, a group of friends. Hey, come on with me. Let's go meet my higher self. It doesn't work that way. It's a path of solitude. You have to figure it out on your own, and you draw in the things that you find out, draw them in and bring them into your reality to further influence people to perhaps want to do the same for themselves. All right, so if you enjoy the company of your higher self, there is nothing to worry about. There's no loneliness to fear. What's the term these days? FOMO? Fear of missing out. Your fear of missing out on this world, which is mostly the fake world, is causing you to miss out on your true highest potential and self. That's FOMO for real. So think of, yes. All right. As I close this live stream, an example came to me, and hopefully I'll do it justice. So think of white light, and I believe I did a live stream where I discussed this. Think of pure white light coming down, and it hits or it bends as it passes through a very dense reflective surface, the water, a prism, a glass. What happens to that light, and we see it all the time, is it breaks and it fractures into many, many lights. The rainbow, sort of the rainbow color, that these colors, they spread out. I believe the frequency slows down of that light when it hits the surface. Essentially, that's exactly what has happened to us because we live in this reality. Think of what you're doing when you align, when they say align your light. What you're doing is unfracturing. You are unscattering your light. You're gathering the purple, you're gathering the red, you're gathering the yellow, you're gathering all these colors that have spread out every which way, and you're uniting them back to become the one focused, bright light again. You are unbreaking yourself. You are mending yourself. When you unscatter your energy, your light, and gather it from every which way, from every place, from every situation, from every event, from every memory that broke a part of you, you become whole again. And that's a big part of healing. And there's sort of there's a metaphor in here. No one knows the events that broke you, where you lost aspects, where you lost your courage, where you lost your joy, where your spirit was, it was broken. Whoever broke your spirit, my family broke my spirit. For the most part, I can probably look at my family in the eye and sit with them now, because I've regained all the aspects of myself that they broke from me without me knowing, and I left behind. I've reclaimed all those aspects of myself, and I've made myself whole again. Naturally, empathy and forgiveness will have to play a role here, because you will begin to understand as you go through this journey and as you become whole and unite all aspects of your soul, is that these people who did this to you, they don't deserve your anger, they don't deserve bitterness, they don't deserve your hatred, they deserve your sympathy and empathy and understanding and forgiveness, because they are a product, they're unaware, and they were only acting out of a limitation. They didn't know that what they were doing. They did not know, even if it came from a very, very hard and rigid place in their heart. You're better now. You're better now. And you can only become whole when you let all that gunk go. I'm not telling you go kiss them and make love to them and be friends with them, but let it go. See them as unaware and very, very limited human beings that don't deserve any aspect of you. Not anymore. So you begin to embody the concept of oneness again as you become whole, as you gather all the scattered aspects of you that you've left behind. You become whole, you become one, and you unite with your light. Like I said, as within, so without, you begin to operate and understand the concept of oneness, that we are all one. We only differ in our awareness. That is it. And if you gained awareness, and if you have that consciousness and that light shining in you, then it is not your place to misuse it and look down upon others. So part of becoming whole is claiming back your energy from all the places that it was taken from you and left behind. And that's, I believe, it. That's the live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the delivery was somewhat decent. And please leave me any feedback that you wish in the comment section. And I do promise you that I will be doing a live stream soon that is not pre-recorded. It's just this message. I wanted to deliver it without much distraction. Have a lovely rest of your day.